Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. Now, we're here to talk about some things you may not know. The fantasy and reality of everything we see. And the lies behind the billboard signs of our throwaway today. Now you'll laugh, you may cry. But give it a try. It's your show, this life that you're living. And you'll live and you'll die. But in between, we can fly. If from our heart we can keep giving.
My name's Doug Francis, and I'm a ringmaster in a circus company. And with Art Space, Life Space, I instigate some of the projects that happen. For both projects, we take over big, crazy old buildings and turn them into arts resources and performance venues.
Hi, I'm Naomi. I made this film with one camera and a laptop and my husband, Sam. Art Space had opened up this massive squat around the corner from my house. I wanted to film it before it disappeared.
In the UK, you can use Section 6 of the Criminal Law Act to claim an empty building as your home. Then the owners have to go through the court process to evict you, otherwise they're breaking the law.
Hi, my name's Sarah. I live at the Audi garage on Cheltenham Road and have done for the past 3 months.
What a lot of people can't understand is why you put so much effort into something which you know is going to disappear. But for me, that's the absolute beauty of it, is the transience of it and the pointless nature of it.
Hi, my name's Wim. I met Dougie in '96. I've been working with him on and off over the years with his harebrained schemes. As a performer, and Michelle, my wife, we do an acrobalance show.
I'm Michelle, I'm too short for a showgirl. I'm Heidi, and I'm too short for showgirls too.
What I like about working for the Invisible Circus is that you get to write your own stuff and do your own act, which is what I've always wanted, I suppose.
Been performing and putting on cabaret shows, some of the benefits for charities, some of the expenses we've had in terms of actually making the place safe to invite the public into.
Glory seeker, pull the magazine, nigga, buck a tweaker, ling-a-ling, a larrikin, in a Harridan Creek, and Nancy. I'm born in the trunk, but I'm on a wire. I know you ain't no child.
Keep watching the walls, keep watching the windows, keep watching the website. We'll have a jam-packed week of events this week. If we are going out, we're going out in a blaze of colour and glory. Thank you for coming and supporting us.
After a while, I was going to the Audi garage maybe 3 times a week. Hundreds of people gathered there. I always used to do theatre, but I hadn't done it for about 5 years. And seeing the shows really inspired me to get back into performing.
We try and recycle whatever materials we can recycle.
Things like when you're moving loads of tat, you know, like an Arctic from the Welsh National Opera pulls up outside.
We kind of hold it together by having communal meals, and we kind of look out for each other.
We managed to feed 6 houses out of 1 carload of skip food.
Hundreds of pounds.
Which was perfectly fresh.
Big punnets of
strawberries.
like
3 big punnets of mushrooms, huge catering sized quiches.
Sacks of onions.
Yeah, cakes, massive, enormous cakes.
Hello, I'm Giant Malcolm. It's been a particularly happy space. Everyone has been creative. The trouble with society at the moment, it's all about just going and buying your happiness. All of a sudden, we find you can just make your own happiness by being creative, and that is what this space is about.
We've put so much time and effort into the regeneration of it. Clearing glass and rubble, rewiring things and like piles of paper up to your chest. The police do know all about squatting. They're still not very keen on it, and you often have to convince them that you understand the law and that you know where you stand before they'll not take the door down with a battering ram. Have you had that happen before?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's really frustrating because you want to do more things, but you can't because you're getting evicted.
There are big changes happening in Bristol. A partially derelict section of the centre between Broadmead and the M32 is being developed into a massive luxury shopping complex called Cabot Circus, which is widely expected to push property prices up in Montpellier, St Paul's and Stokes Croft.
We've always been surfing on this wave of development. Money's pouring in to develop all these buildings into flats or offices. All that's old and has been hangs in the balance at this point. And there are some really big, beautiful, but really derelict buildings. So it is a good time to be here. Hopefully we'll create that kind of space for some kind of community voice in what happens in the next couple of years.
They're turning the city into a Legoland, this beautiful, chaotic, vibrant, happening place. They're turning into a Legoland.
Since we built up a big membership over the past 4 months, we're now doing an event whereby we'll use the whole building as a kind of art theatre installation. So we're encouraging people to come and join us for a journey, which starts at 8 p.m. at the Bristol Arts Trade Centre.
A little bit scared, bit of a dress rehearsal. It's quite excited to see how it all goes, you know? Because getting all this together didn't really get time to work on the performance side of things. But we'll blag it somehow, see what you think.
The way may be dark sometimes, and you may be confused or even frightened. But no matter how dark the road gets, ladies and gentlemen, remember, there's always a million stars shining up above in the ether. The show begins in a basement underworld called Undertown, which used to be the swinging part of the city back in the day, but has since been redeveloped and built over.
Get a fucking drink, my dear. What are you lot staring at?
It's become a strange subterranean underworld where all the drug addicts and undesirables live. The people from the higher levels still come down there for a real and dirty time, although the show is not quite what it used to be. I remember when this place was full of laughter and dancing.
Moment! Absinthe on the heart!
Nothing in this bar is free! Absinthe is £5! Gin is £3! If you don't like it, you can lump it! You, if you think you're selling ketamine in here again...
If you want to stay down here and die, you can. Or you can come with me. So they barricaded Undertown to stop it being redeveloped and bulldozed way back when. The foundations are crumbling and the machines are moving ever closer, so they know that soon they have to go above ground and face the world that they refused to face all those years ago.
Ah! So you bothered to arrive? Well, you're late. You're very late. 3 orderly lines, and you will be stamped. Stamped. Excellent performance and production. We are meeting customer requirements. We fit the purpose. A finely tuned machine. Well, what are you waiting for? Follow me. Go on.
It's your human relationships that cause all of your problems.
Give me your number, we'll send you details about internet home shopping where you can grow ugly on
Justice is hanging up above. And there ain't no justice. There's just us. Come with us outside the barriers of your mind to a world sublime. They take tickets to go up to the VIP club land called the Bang Bang Club, where the ringmaster and his ex-wife are reunited. She sold out and started up this club in Overtown.
no eye contact and always face the DJ.
I need to talk to her.
You're not going anywhere.
I just want to...
No smiles, no.
That's the lens. Get the lens. Get the lens. Don't speak now.
Welcome to the Bang Bang Club, ladies and gentlemen! Bang Bang! Indulge in everything! Forget it all! Feel free! Take it on as much as you can! Sell your friends, your dogs, your cats, the silverware and the matching mats, the chicken specials at the local pub, town cinema, the country club, the home cinemas around sound, the house in France that man you found. It's it all so you can afford this over and done. take it all so you can afford the smorgasbord. Trumpet.
One more time for the Bang Bang Club! You have been watching the Invisible Circus. Exactly. Everywhere you'd ever be. Live, everywhere, all the time. So now, ladies and gentlemen, please join us back down below for the final part of the show. The Dutton Foreshore Motor Company got their eviction order granted. It's an amazing building and there could be so much done with it as an art space or a community space. Obviously that's not going to pay as well as turning it into flats, which is usually what it comes down to.
Essentially what you do is illegal as well, going into a building that isn't yours because you don't necessarily have permission to be in. Surely there must be a better way than to have to do it like that.
It's just direct action, really. I mean, that was there for 6 months with needles all over the front hall, kids coming in out to play. You know, that should be illegal too. We have made applications to councils, to housing trusts to try and manage properties. They never really has come up with trumps. There's enough legal problems in the way that doing this any other way other than squatting doesn't seem to be possible. So we keep doing it our way and they keep doing it their way. It'll all just keep happening.
Thank you very much. Lovely.
Thanks.
It's a disappointment that we've got to be out of here in 10 days' time or so. Only to be expected given the circumstances, but we'll find somewhere new and carry on the show. The show must go on.
So the story goes, you can hear them ringing, ringing out from here. So the story goes, you can hear them ringing, ringing out from here. But I can't hear them. Oh, I can't hear them. So we go. Just gotta hold on to every moment of music.
How does it feel to be doing this? It's kind of heartbreaking, really. This has been special for its kind of having so much crazy space, you know? And this, especially this big gallery thing, is perfect for it.
Oh, it was never going to last, was it?
It's been a good run, man.
I don't mind. I like it for it didn't last.
So are you guys going to be on site 24 hours here? Or?
Yeah, that's right, yeah. We just sit here, keep people out, keep us in, that's it.
It's a crazy situation. We'll pay the security guard from the Community Arts Project who were willing to take on the Nightmare Place for free. The Audi garage is for all its shonkiness, you know what I mean? We made that building safe. It was epic work, there was no funding. Like we put in 100 quid each out of 12 people or something, which is like the last 100 quid anyone had, you know. And we just did that and and took it back.
People are like, God, what a waste of time then, you know, clearing up that whole space and then just having to move out of it, don't you feel good? And I'm like, well, no, you know, all I wanted to do was to do this big, massive, site-specific 4-story installation show performance that we did last weekend. That's been my dream, that's been my goal, we achieved that, and the next mission onwards, like, brilliant.
I knew the crew were looking for another big building, and there were loads of empties on Stokes Croft, but without a performance space, the energy was dissipating. About 2 weeks later, I got a text at 6 a.m.
Morning. Morning. We've opened the magic box. We've just kind of secured this building, which used to be a cinema, and now it's a sort of Wetherspoons pub, or it was a Wetherspoons pub, which got sold on to some other chain, which has now gone into liquidation. I think we might open a cinema. And we'll probably curtain off this area here where the bar is now and make a stage in front. And then, yeah, put a screen up, ideally, and have some film nights. I don't think it'll probably last very long. So we'll probably have to do that all next week or so.
When I was squatting in London maybe 15 years ago, I got together with Doug and we opened up a squat gallery on Portobello Road. Somebody came in and offered us a huge building, so we did our first big art space thing. Then I ran away and did environmental things. And I made a deal with Dougie that I'll help him set up a new art space if he comes and spends a month up a tree in Tasmania. But I think he's forgotten his end of the bargain.
Okay, this is the kitchen of the magic box, as left by whichever pissed off staff were here previously. Let's have a look. I don't even know what that is, I haven't opened it yet. But there's a whole swarm of hundreds of flies. The trees are over here. Took some out of a horror film. That's just soaking into those cardboard boxes there. Okay, so shitloads of flies. Maybe you can't see anything. Stinks, I don't know what that is. Just, I can't keep that too long. Just minging. I'm gonna clear the kitchen up, make it look a lot better.
I've known Simon since protests at Fairmile. We dug lots of tunnels and built tree houses together.
Road protesting, digger diving, frontlining it, you know, with the riot police. Even though the actual message is really positive, that's a kind of negative thing to me, and I kind of realised that after years of it. Yeah, on the creative level, I think you can influence people a lot more. I don't have a life outside of this, you know. I've got no money, I don't work, I don't sign on.
And the box. Right, John, come in there.
At the Magic Box, I sang for the first time in public in front of about 200 people. But you can't listen to it because I can't afford copyright for the songs. The tired and rapidly dwindling crew moved into yet another wreck on Stokes Croft.
We thought it would be a good option because it has workshop spaces and a shop front, which would be a great gallery.
I think we've got some good shots of Dougie through the floor with me standing on the stairs here, pissing myself laughing.
I'm about to go as well.
See here, here's the joist.
Yeah.
Fair bit of cleaning up to do.
Yeah.
From what I can gather, because we know who sold it, and the people who bought it, I think, are speculators, and they're just going to sit on it until the property price goes up because of the Broadmead. I think Doug is talking about barricading it and defending it and refusing to move this time. So we'll probably all be in jail shortly. It doesn't happen in Britain very often. Happens a lot in Germany, in Spain, in France. Holland especially, like whole streets get organised and all come out together. And they just send in sort of riot squads with water cannons and tear gas. But not really, people kind of just tend to move on in Britain. I think partly because it's easier to find somewhere new and break it as well. The squatting laws aren't quite as difficult as they are in Europe. And the police are generally nicer here.
Basically 2 days after we got in here, the owner came with a hired bailiff.
Yeah, we said, what are you going to do with it? Because it's a really useful space to us and we can live here. And he said, oh, we'll just kick you out, brick the place up.
He kind of wanted us out in 10 days or said that he'd be willing to fast track it through the courts and evict us in like 3 weeks.
They'll leave it and it'll rot, and then in whatever, 2, 5, 10 years, that land will be worth mega bucks, you know.
Caught in a bit of a horrible catch-22. We've sort of run out of space in this area really, as far as anything that would suit a project goes, apart from the ones owned by the council, and we don't want to occupy those because we're trying to negotiate with the councils. And on top of that, my girlfriend's booked us on holiday on Monday to Morocco, which is really good obviously, but it's kind of ill-timed because now we've got this imminent kind of eviction situation as well.
After Christmas, I went to see Simon, Laurie and Nick. They were squatting this little terraced house full of circus tat. They'd had some news about a building they'd had their eye on.
Dougie and Sarah went on holiday the morning we moved. We were at our lowest, you know, we haven't got somewhere to live, we haven't got somewhere to store our stuff. It was like quite hard to go, let's not do this building, because we knew that the council was sort of moving on it. When they actually said, come and look at it, it was like, great, you know, it's like it was worth waiting, you know, sort of thing, rather than just squatting it and being kicked out. It's an old police station.
Yeah, and all these bits in yellow, areas that we've been allowed to use.
And there's a yard, this area
assuming
is like a yard.
Assuming all the negotiations go through. And yeah, that's complicated.
Yeah.
Potentially, because the council don't really see what the benefits are, I think. Yeah, the bailiffs seem quite relaxed.
But usually I'm a lot more together and have moved out before they get here.
What's the plan, though? Back to Morocco, With the stealth pincer movement. We're going to wait them out. Call their bluff. Play them with their own game. So we're not actually moving anywhere. We've hidden all our things in our secret stashes around Bristol. The Empire builds, forces are amassing on the western frontier. Have you heard anything back from the council? No!
Won't you tell me how to sign on the line? Won't you tell me how to sign on the line? Tell me, oh tell me, oh tell me, oh tell me.
We were sort of on the edge of just folding, really, because we didn't have another building and the council were taking so long. And then, yeah, it all came together. We negotiated a rent with them.
That's a chunky looking one. It says do not duplicate on it. How are we going to get around that?
Our security's almost as good as ours.
The fact that it's the council reaching halfway almost, this potential mark of respect on their part, you know, and I respect that.
We're at our headquarters, our police station, our kind of first legitimate building where we've decided to register as business and try and do things the normal way rather than our guerrilla squat way of the past.
Artspace negotiated a rent of about £200 a month in return for security, repairs, maintenance and opening the building as an artist studios and rehearsal space.
Yeah, and it doesn't feel too much like a brand. Obviously, it is a police station, but it's got quite a friendly, homely kind of feel. And anything else, it's just nice.
So I hope this little breakthrough here is the first of many, and that we'll be able to actually legally, if you like, for want of a better term, open up all this kind of spaces, not purely by using Section 6. It's not as big a space, of course, as like the Audi garage or some of the other spaces we've had, and hasn't got the kind of big training space we'd hoped for.
As far as I'm aware, Dougie and Sarah are meeting the property owners of the Steiner School. I don't know, it's been all a bit of a mystery. It's like Dougie and Sarah are the sort of, they know what's going on in there. And we're all kind of like, what's happening?
I think it went really well. I felt better about it today than I did yesterday.
Yeah.
Or at least, I mean, it was all laid out a bit more clearly what exactly might, and it sounded good.
Kind of understand what they're looking for.
What are they looking for?
They want us to clean up the cathedral and then do their swanky marketing gig for nothing in return for getting
No, they
it.
don't. They want us to use it as they want us to use the cathedral and set it up as a training space, and then they'll probably pay us to do the swanky marketing gigs as well. And also, he was sort of hinting that they'd be up for supporting any of the project that we set in there. So if we got some funding, they'd probably chip in some too. He was just agreeing with that, and that would work great for them.
He said we could probably do at least a week run of a site-specific show in there. So basically,
and then
for
maybe
that,
a sort of 12-week programme or something like that.
a 12-week programme of what?
Just don't record this woman anymore, alright?
You should hear what I say when you're not here.
The co-op sort of, we actually set it up to enable us to obtain funding, get bank accounts, things like that.
Fall into the ocean and there is no shore. Understanding the world, a great demise. In love you will find there are no lies. Where is God on the eve of tomorrow? God's drinking whiskey, drowning his sorrow. So farewell, he says, and so long, but there's always a time to sing a song. Hallelujah, hey, hallelujah.
Don't give me attention, Naomi.
Ignore it, that's what we're trying to do.
It's quite a big business decision. At the moment, it's going to come down to you three.
What is a big business?
Well, I don't know.
Whether we take a loan or whether we sort of take on another building. For everyone to be able to make a decision, you, Simon, Wim, etc., will have to be members.
I'd like to say that it's an incredible leap of faith, therefore, for me to just be handing over all to Pat.
Do you want to be the secretary?
Well, yeah, it's an incredible leap of faith for us that we're taking all your responsibility.
We all know how it's going to work. It'll work fine.
Yeah, nothing's going to change.
And that's for the Arts Council application, that's for funding, and that's for to exist as a legal corporation, because that helps us in a lot of ways, really, on the sort of financial side.
You know, it can create problems as well because you have to go through a certain process, whereas before it was a bit more, we just did it, you know, whereas now we have to sit around and talk about doing it and then do it, you know.
Hi, I am Jonathan Brecknell from a company called Urban Creation, and we are the owners of this fantastic building. The plan for the building eventually is 81 apartments and 1 townhouse and 5,000 square feet of offices.
The cathedral has sat rotting in Clifton for 30 years.
You should see the theatre, darling. This is just the beginning.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and they've given us the keys. Rent's £1 a month. They'll help us with the licensing and stuff like that to make it a legal venue. Obviously all in return for some fabulous PR by working with a proactive grassroots community arts project.
It's a theatre already, isn't it? So it's going to need a bit of work, as you can see. But hopefully it shouldn't be too long before we can do a show.
We're in the background and we're here to help out.
Yeah.
But if you guys end up making good money out of it, then well done, and you know,
Okay,
put that to best use wherever else you can.
Well, yeah,
Fantastic.
our idea is just to be able to sustain what we do. All the money's going to be going directly back into here as opposed to being divided up between a few people.
I think we put it there, then we got a bit of light.
That's the key image that I think we're in for. Because we were trying to position this the cathedral as a kind of not Gucci, but kind of high-end fashion brand. I know we're going to end up in burlesque somewhere happily. But putting the kind of polish on it.
The whole thing was set up not just to be, let's try and sell 82 apartments and some offices. There was this whole other thing going on as well.
Georgie Boy did talk about the idea that it had these events, and they didn't even talk about the apartment. You could see it, but you could see it on print. You could see it as a spot UV and all sorts of things.
Colour coordinated with our circus colours, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think I'm the most cynical about us cozying up to corporate property developer, and that's mainly from my experience of doing environmental things against corporate bodies. I don't have very much respect or very much trust for them. I see them as being part of the problem that we're trying to solve.
We had a development site just off King Square, and that was very badly squatted, and we had to go to court to get them all evicted, and that was pretty painful, turning up there with the police and all that kind of stuff. But that's the difference with Doug and his team. If we've got a building that we can make work, then he's in there, and it keeps the your average squatter at bay. Our building in King Square, after they'd finished with it, was completely wrecked.
And there are squats that are full of junkies, or I'm not denying that's a fact, but pretty much all of the squats that I've lived in have been pretty well functioning communities on small to quite large scales.
We're a massive amount of housing short of the amount of people that actually want it, and so, like it or not, my personal opinion is that Bristol needs and will get more residential accommodation. From a developer's point of view, affordable housing always puts pressure on the land price and the development margins.
There's a lot of empty buildings out there, and if it was common knowledge that you could enter a building that is a perfectly cool, reasonable place to live and live there for free potentially, then there's probably quite a lot of people who wouldn't be very happy about that.
There's so many sort of public amenities like libraries, swimming pools, churches, I guess, which get taken away from the community, and sort of more people get kind of crammed in. That doesn't necessarily build for a good community, less community spaces. And we've always been sort of pushing for more community spaces. So in that sense, it's a kind of weird paradox.
That coming over, cheeky little side swabber, sneaking up on you. More pretty, step on the side. Don't cup your behavior, we'll take it wide. Who's gonna bid for this? Got me for pummel, maybe start a sway. Hand me over that bar pole or I'll start a wane. Profit or loss, I'll give you some credit because you were the boss.
You know what it's like, you've got to chase it through the system.
They know everything about you. They know makes you want to drink too. You got the bottle, or is it got you?
The crew have been doing renovations and shoveling toxic pigeon shit for 5 months, and work is due to start on the flats in the new year.
Yeah, so I reckon all this stuff would have been, at some point it would have been part of the altar.
Right.
Don't want to dig too deep, really. If we had it for a long amount of time, then yeah, great, to sort of make things really, really nice, but yeah.
Besides, I reckon once there's been quite a few shows and stuff.
Yeah, totally, it will, yeah. Be like, here's the keys, yeah, great.
Time for this.
Yeah, we've got some nice white walls. If you want to do a white tag on here, that's
Oh, can I do a white one on there?
Do a white
Can I do
tag.
a gold one?
Are you pigeon hunting today, Heidi?
Possibly. Depends if I see any in the building. Then I'll have to run and get the catapult and kill them in the face.
Don't step in there!
Yeah, don't step in there, it's really
Claire, come away!
it's like, it's on like matchsticks.
Imagine if the stage breaks.
Think about that, when you're all glistened up.
Covered in glitter.
Covered in glitter. With your best feather boa on.
Thanks, guys.
Here we go.
I don't actually have many direct dealings with urban creation because I've kept myself busy with the police station while Dougie and most of the rest of the crew can get busy on the big project that we've got going. I haven't really found my niche in here, as in the green thing yet, but it's starting to happen. Like, for example, getting a big property developer to buy Forest Stewardship Council wood rather than the cheapest ply. The electricity at the cathedral for all the work and all the events is going to be on good energy, green electricity, which basically the developer would have never have done without our input.
The health and safety guy came around last week because it's got to be presented to like 7 different departments, including the fire brigade, the police, environmental, health, health and safety, training standards, the planning department, and the residents in the area will have to be presented with this information before we get our licensing.
Urban Creation quite keen to help you out with getting a licence?
Yeah, for sure. They're in deep, basically, because the insurance for the building is in their name. Like, we've got this programme now of 12 weeks of events, and there's no way that we can do it if we don't get our premises licence. So it's a bit like...
Well, I'm going to board off a door. Fire regs and all that. As I even said this morning, if this had been a bloody squad, we'd have been open months ago and we've been doing all these problems.
Electricity's okay for a while. I don't mind running on these. If we have electricity, we can run on the extensions. But let's be safe first.
It's frightening, isn't it? You know, when circumstances gang up on you and you're suddenly here, working for nothing, for the love of it.
My name is Hinch. In the ideal world, I'd be a lighting designer and operator. For nearly 2/3 of my time is basically just shoveling shit, you know what I mean? Like
£20,000 from Arts and Business, match funded by Urban Creation, £5,000 from the Arts Council, £2,000 from Bristol City Council, plus about 20 volunteers working day and night for 5 months. The cathedral was signed off as a licensed venue.
Like, I'm not a painter and decorator and, you know, don't like sweeping floors. I like hanging from the air, that's alright.
So just get some mops and buckets on, rustle up some more hands on deck for tomorrow. So everyone's fucking looking really broken. Apart from Hinch.
Can you tell us why we're doing this again?
So,
hey, listen, right, one really important fact to remember, okay, which I keep losing sight of, is that in probably 3 or 4 weeks we'll be sitting around rubbing our hands going, haven't we got the best training space in the whole of Bristol? And we've got our own bar, and our own theatre, and a cathedral. And it's been a gruelling fucking however many months of like banging heads against walls and pitching shit and whatever, but like try and focus on that, like there will reach a moment where we'll be able to use this space.
So really soon we're going to work on shows again, remember
I know, yeah, I remember that.
Remember
and
that
it's like,
stuff?
Here we are, like, scrubbing the floors, painting the walls, while other groups are rehearsing their shows. That's really heartbreaking at the moment.
Yeah,
all summer we've done fuck all.
I know, and that's...
Heidi, do you want to organise people for running the bar? That'd be good.
Okay.
Yeah.
With the bar, if we're taking the profit, where's that money gonna go?
Well,
It's gonna go back into the project, or are people gonna get paid?
Pay the bar staff and stuff, right?
Yeah, but the bar staff like could be anyone, whereas like we've all been painting and
no, the bar staff
painting
is going
and-
to be probably people.
Yeah, but it's not going to be fair to only pay like 4 people that work the bar. Like, I hate to like
Yep.
be that way about the money, but it is an important thing because we've all been working for free for so long.
Yeah.
Do something to be different when we hit the big time.
Baby, crying.
Where's my name in lights? The grapes, the fans, that don't even know who I am. Where's the champagne? The puppies, the hamsters, the little sausages on sticks. Can you break me out of this as well? Do it break. So we hit the big time. Isn't it great?
So you're stage manager and stuff?
Yeah.
Feeling relaxed about it?
I was, but I now I've got a camera on my face. Yeah, no, it's fine. I've worked with Dougie and Sarah for a long time, so.
This old show house in the forgotten side of town, this crumbling beauty, when only the ghosts have slept and whispered all these years gone. Where have you been, my children? Where have you been?
Please welcome the diva Audrey Sawyer and Moonshine Dog. So we hit the big time, isn't it great? Blinded by the lights and imprisoned by fate. Oh, I've been born so more times than I can count. So let's hold on, we've made it now. Cheap laughs and shallow gags, spewing out same old crap. The Smyths and champagne. Oh, it's a shameful loading game. Used to have a flimsy wine across the tube. Used to have a freedom to decide. A word like a dog treated like a child. Honey tongues that whisper chorus. All I want is someone honest. So we hit the town. Isn't it great? Blinded by the lights and imprisoned by fate. Oh, I've been born so more times than I can count. So let's we made it now.
Any of you see us at the Audi garages last year? Wasn't that a fine old affair? But you know, an empty car garage for 5 years is one thing, but an empty cathedral for 30? Now I'm sure come the sad day when we must leave this place, many people will be saying how sad and terrible it is that this place will now be turned into a block of flats like the rest of our world. But ladies and gentlemen, it is we who forgot this place. It's only us, ladies and gentlemen. There really is no them. And I will ask you no more questions in search of reasons why. All that you have taught to me is a history of lies, and the truth, it does surround me now. Everything I see, the way it is and the way it was, and the way that it could be, and the way that it could be. Can you tell me what do you want? Just a happy tune. I want to lift your heart so high I'll hang it. Just tell me what do you want? Just a happy tune. Can you tell me what do you want? I'll promise you the moon if you can tell me. I'll promise you the moon if you can tell me.
Shows, work shifts, cleaning up, setting up, packing down, work shifts, shows, and just not having enough time to even be ill and rest or really have much friendship with all the people that we were working with.
So what's
Will you fuck off?
Baby, come on.
Look, that's the interview thing, yeah?
Relations aren't frayed at all. We're coping remarkably well.
You fucking cunt.
I
Look at me cold
actually
suit,
think-
cram fucking fresh jog on.
I actually think that the stress levels are a lot less now than they were before.
Yeah, but still.
It's
yeah,
just
well,
different
it's
stresses
different,
now, isn't
yeah.
it?
We overstretch ourselves to the limit every time. We've got no sense of.
It's not impossible, then it's not worth
It's not impossible. It's not worth doing.
Like day to day, we're getting a handle on this running a venue. We had most time in the cathedral. We had Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Thursday was random function downstairs. It was the first time we've run both venues at once, and that was all right. But this week's been relatively calm, hasn't it?
Right. You're on Cabaret Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Charles is on Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The Steiner School Union's on Sunday, and then the art exhibition's in on Monday.
Is that it then?
No. Then there's the Insect Circus, the Bang Bang Club, and whatever other carol concerts you've organised. And random Christmas parties, no? Okay.
No.
Cool, then it's just Judgment Day after that.
We work as a team now, don't we?
As opposed to before.
When we were working against each other.
Were we?
Yeah. Well, I was working against you.
When it's a squatted venue and people come in to do a show, they're very much like, okay, thanks for letting me in. We'll set up over here. Thanks a lot, see you later.
Because people have loads of expectations, but they're also your mates and you want them to try and accommodate you as much as you're accommodating them, but they're like, we're paying for this venue, so therefore this should be sorted out, that should be sorted out, and you're like, well, yeah, but you're paying a very minimal amount.
We need to double the ticket prices and the capacity.
Do you think that's how theatre becomes a bit elitist, maybe?
Yes.
Exactly.
Well, yeah.
Kind of, well, ideally you want trying to blag it in on the door. I mean, all the audience would be really respectful of the venue, don't
Yeah, people don't piss on the stairs, and you know, it's just that really horrible mentality because it's like, because it's a squat, you can sort of trust the place.
Is there any chance of any or all of you guys pulling a living wage from this project?
You'd hope so, wouldn't you?
Not. No.
No. Maybe from this project, but not from running a venue. I honestly can't understand how theatres actually function. Make any money. It's without funding, you can see why loads of theatres are closing and stuff. It's hard work. I mean, even with funding, it's hard work, you know.
At this point in the proceedings, there's no chance that we're going to recoup money that will pay us for the amount of work that we've done over the last 6 months.
That wasn't the question.
It was. Can you make a living?
Will you ever make a living out of doing this? It wasn't, will you get recouped for the work you've done in the last 6 months?
Let's say that the last year's work is
You
like...
do it. I can't handle it.
Cool. It's better to interview us separately, you know, because we've got totally different viewpoints on things, which is brilliant. But I think it's well possible that we could make a living out of doing this sort of thing, yeah. But that's what the challenge is, really. To try and support a crew of 20 people odd who can do this stuff.
We've had a lot of money come in this year. Not to us, but which we've bought stuff with, useful stuff.
All right, no one was getting paid, but there was always food at the cathedral. Anyone in the crew who was hungry could go into the kitchen, cook for everyone, and that would be paid for by the company. And that's kind of invaluable, really, that sort of support group and that sort of family.
And the shows have got bigger. We've had bigger budgets for our productions.
Okay, I'm Petra. I'm from Germany and I'm involved with the Invisible Circus for the last 13 years. And this is one of the biggest projects we have done together, so I came over to do the direction here for this place. I met Doggy in Portugal in the mountains and we started doing the street together, busking. I think it's for us both, it's an important play that we do this. Being the tramp on the street and come back to life as a ringmaster, that will be his part.
Do you remember how we danced in the pale moonlight?
And I know I can help him to do this.
Do you remember how we danced in the pale moonlight? Do you remember?
So how long have you been sort of rehearsing and preparing for the show?
We just have short time. We just have 1 week. The show is tomorrow night. That means it has to be rehearsed during the night. The set is not built yet.
It just means there's another 20 minutes ready for the new pallets to be put together.
Yeah, you can get out.
Nearly 7 o'clock. And just a moment, I want to say thanks a lot
for this mad week, which I never experienced before. Just stay in your character, stay in the energy you have, and we will get through it. It will be a good show. Yeah. Thank you very much.
The dreams that were born here all died long ago. When the silver screen came on and stole away the show, emptied these busy living streets into 1,000 glowing windows. The sign on the gate says closed, waiting to be bulldozed. There's nothing to see here now.
One day, we'll laugh at all the games we play. One day, we'll stop chasing this masquerade. Wheels of time slowly wind away, tangled in the grays and yellows of yesterday. One day.
Come down to Ghost Town, where the spirits remain, where you have nothing to lose except your fears and your chains. Do you remember?
Ladies and gents, we invite you again to dance like the old days way back when. Come out from the shadows, let go of your fear. The Invisible Circus is about to appear!
From the dizzying heights of the swinging trapeze to sweeping up after the audience leaves, we're all the stars of the show. And life is no dress rehearsal, you know? And it's a very special last thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm hoping all my crew are here on stage, but this is one man without whom none of this would definitely be happening. Please welcome from Urban Creation, the owner of this fine building who has let us use it for this time, Mr. Jonathan Brecknell. Thank you, sir.
The Artsmith Lifestyle's crew have done an amazing job of turning it into a really great theatre space. And so, yeah, you do feel a little bit wistful. A little bit wistful. But it's a commercial building at the end of the day.
It was pretty much left to Dougie and Wim to deal with them. And everybody else had this kind of like distant relationship towards them. At the developers' Christmas party, there was a certain negative attitude towards urban creation. But because money is just a separating factor in this society, and it's like they seem to have lots of money.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure to perform here at the Pro Cathedral. I'd just like one more announcement to say that Urban Splash, a developer you may be familiar with, have just signed a deal with us for the Bridewell police station. So the project here that's built so much momentum for Bristol and the creative community will have a continuation project there. So I would again commend you. If you consider it, it's a great thing to do for the community. That's one thing. It's a great thing to do for the artists. That's another. On the other hand, the Bristol City Council would also like you. That's good. And it may be the only way of avoiding the empty commercial property tax coming in April. So have a great Christmas. Have a great time tonight, ladies and gentlemen, and enjoy the amazing place that is Pro Cathedral.
We gradually realized, well, they seem to have lots of money, but it isn't even theirs. You know what I mean? It's like they're just channeling it through for somebody else. They're just regular people, not necessarily adversaries or enemies, or which is a concept that doesn't work anyway.
I felt it was a very happy atmosphere. I think people were really wowed by the show. The feedback from the people that came was really fantastic.
They're giving us this unique chance, a certain amount of money and all that. On the other hand, they're using us, and but that is the game that you're always playing.
A lot of this, my priority is production space and creative space for the circus. That's what we get out of it for the work we put in a way.
I'm hoping that doing all this is actually our work, our hard work is rewarded by Bridewell by having a really creative space, training space, costume space.
At least in the Audi garages, we got the same time using the building as we did cleaning it up, whereas this has been even shorter and all that. But negative finance is all this is on this particular project. We're getting fucking really regular, good press and everything.
I just wanted to know if you had any Dougie plans in the making that you kind of hadn't talked about yet.
Dougie quite often gets his face in the press and quite often is the speaker of the group, which is fair play because I wouldn't want to do it.
Is he crazy or naive or I don't know what it is, that he has the vision to be able to go, yeah, we could clean up all this pigeon shit and, it's not him on his own.
He's almost too visionary sometimes. He just keeps going forward. We're like, hey, we've still got all this shit going on here.
So we're a bunch of anarchists, so nobody wants to take an order from anyone, essentially,
The bit of press that kind of left a bad taste in my mouth was the Top Banana Award for what we all thought was Art Space, Life Space.
They came and they took a picture of everybody.
But it got printed as Doug Francis won the Top Banana Award for the things he has done.
It said something about being an entrepreneurial Willy Wonka, like blah blah somewhere.
He's looked upon as the face, the leader, the Willy Wonka of all the little Oompa Loompas, you know what I mean? It's just like, are we just all loads of Dougie's Oompa Loompas? Or, no, surely not. We're not.
I can say it really pisses me off and stuff, and that's all good and everything, but you know what I mean? It's a real shitter because without the 20 people basically that we've all worked really closely with. Shit. It really upsets me because without all them we wouldn't have been able to do this anyway.
Sure.
I've come to the conclusion that there is nothing wrong with a certain amount of leadership. It's based on love, basically. Do you know what I mean? It's like we all love him to bits, and he all loves us. You know what I mean? It's like, you know what I mean? Like, it is this mutual thing. And I find it's based on that.
Judgment Day was epic in so many respects because it came at the end, and it was a completely new production.
Sarah had been talking about ideas for Judgment Day since they got the keys to the cathedral. But the day before the show, there was still no script.
But somebody was said, yeah, there is a script somewhere, and then it became this mystical thing, like the script will come and it's somewhere.
Have you finished writing the show yet?
Sort of. There's everything to play for. So in the last few hours, who knows what the show's really going to be? It's a gamble.
As planned, yeah. I hadn't even practiced Plan B yet.
It was a bit rough around the edges at the beginning of the run.
Certainly the first night of Judgment Day was a low.
We haven't had a run through yet, and the show's starting in 10 minutes.
But we did all come together and at the very last minute and completely put our last ounces of energy and determination into making it happen, and it was a complete success by the end.
This sweet flower, this innocent child, from this mortal coil untimely torn, and cast asunder in the halls of the damned.
Come on, Judgment Day is soon upon you.
Tell me, sing it to me. Am I as beautiful, attractive, desirable as her?
Keep quiet. She'll be here soon. Everything must be under control. Everything must be perfect.
No, come back! Stop!
Essence of desire.
Desire! We make you these offerings that we may learn your secrets. Desire! May she live forever!
And there was a big courtroom scene where Desire had died, had been killed, and all the different characters that were put on trial.
Where's the evidence? But whose was the hand, or who is the liar?
What have you got? Nothing. What have I got? I've got nothing.
What we will not do in the name of desire, bring hell on earth, damnation and fire, till the earth is blackened and the rivers run red. We wage only war and count not the dead. Some may weep, and some may pray. They can never leave the paradise. So don't talk falsely, don't play with fire, don't sacrifice all that you love.
Want some cake?
To the flames of desire. Ladies and gentlemen, you have survived Judgment Day! Ladies and gentlemen, can I get one more big round of applause, please? This is our last show.
No, look, I survived the fake cathedral. How good's that? I've got a certificate. And so he said, no, it wasn't too well, I don't know, we pulled it off, so it can't be if we'd have fucked it up, then it would have been too ambitious.
No, I think
and the fact that we pulled it off means it wasn't too ambitious.
We can do more.
It was definitely ambitious.
You know, it almost made me question kind of quite what we're doing to this space. You know, it did show that there's another viable, well, maybe not viable, but another useful use that building like this could be put to. Any public spaces in any city are really important spaces, and that all the spaces that we've got should be preserved for the greater benefit of the city. As to future space that you could create out of areas that aren't used or are derelict now, again, that's a really difficult commercial decision.
We did it, okay? It happened, it worked, and now we're here on the strength of that.
Wait till the time is actually
Just when you thought you couldn't get bigger, will you move into the island?
Bridewell Island is right in the centre of Broadmead, Bristol's commercial district. Comprising an entire city centre block, it was once Bristol's police headquarters, fire station and magistrates court. The owners, Urban Splash, are a much bigger developer than Urban Creation. Comprising an entire city centre block, it was once Bristol's police headquarters, fire station and magistrates court.
Excited about the new pad then?
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. No, can't remember. Oh yeah, this is it. The actual cells, these are the proper cells. With a scratch done on their names. Whether these are the holding cells for the courtrooms or what, I don't know. Like.
But up here, this is why it gives the impression that it is court 14 and these little stairs from the holding pen. And you walk up here from your cell, dinner in the courtroom, number 14. Which is a bit strange. Isn't that a bit? The prisoners come up from that end and the public coming through here. I love moving. Can't get enough, and I really like lugging stuff.
It's good that we've got the big space to move everything to, because otherwise we'd be really scuppered.
Yeah, no, it's brilliant, really great.
Also, we're in the new building and there's going to be millions of things that we're going to need to talk about, practical issues and all that kind of stuff. But this should be more about the cathedral and what's happened in the last 9 months as a sort of debrief, so we can look at all the things that went well and all the things that didn't necessarily go so well. Like this, when I looked this up, this just blew my head. But between the 24th of October and the 21st of December last year, we hosted 56 events. That's over the course of 8 weeks, right?
Wow.
Yeah, 56 distinct events, 15 of which were your own shows.
In 8 weeks?
In 8 weeks. Four of which were full-scale theatrical shows, 2 of which you'd never done before. Right?
I want to go and write
Yeah?
Yeah, man. Is that cooked yet?
Fantastic. I want a tea. Great party. Great.
No mercy.
Okay, let's do that then. Let's go and do that. I knew
This is almost more of a crunch time than the cathedral time, because we've come that far and we fulfilled what we set out to achieve, and we fulfilled it really well. But it wasn't in a sustainable way. We couldn't have gone on any further, I don't think, than we did. So now we have to put the sort of systems into place to make sure we can actually make the project a sustainable thing.
I felt far too guilty to let Sarah book me a holiday for the last year, but fuck it. No, I'm so knackered and deranged, I thought it was a good idea.
I'm going to Mexico really soon for 6 weeks.
Wim, my husband, and I are going to Boston to visit my family.
Dougie and Wim completely burnt themselves out in 5 months in the cathedral. Completely, and went on holiday.
Most of the crew from the cathedral got a studio space at Bridewell, including me. So I quit my part-time job and started doing freelance camera and editing and tackling my pile of tapes.
Okay, so in the past, the developers have just paid for us to do everything. Developers are now saying we have to make a profit, and they're going to take 5% of it, therefore we need to run a business. I saw the kind of opportunity was there for things to become a lot more democratic. Just before Dougie went, he met James, and that's what James's written reply was. Okay, if you're going to do this, I want to see a business plan, I want to see your figures.
Doug, good to hear from you. We're keen to meet up as soon as you get back. When do you arrive back in the country and when can we meet?
So we do need Dougie to come back for this, as essentially,
it's his fault.
It's his fault, yeah.
Dougie is the leader and all the rest of it, but I just think it is worth us, while we are, as a collective, agreeing something.
Well, they did all the meetings with Open Creation.
Yeah, I know, but aren't we different now? Isn't that the whole point? Isn't what all the meetings that we've been doing? And he's not some kind of tyrant, he's just one person.
No,
we're a group that we want to do things differently, we want to organise ourselves differently, don't we?
Yeah.
So would you be up for going?
Yeah, definitely. You know, at the end of the day, credentials are, yes, I was a senior manager in the Ministry of Defence.
Fucking hell, really?
I've done really high profile meetings, presentations, that kind of thing, and actually this evening I was very nervous. Because, you know, you weren't just a load of suits. So the business model I came up with is that we will rent workshops to artists, and with that we will have a performance space.
We've been putting systems in place that will hopefully, bring sustainability to ArtSpace, LifeSpace, really, and that includes getting the roles and responsibilities in order.
The top just says roles and responsibilities, and then the three orange ones there are the essential elements of ArtSpace, LifeSpace, i.e. the company secretary, the treasurer and the chairperson. Currently on paper, Sarah is secretary, I'm the treasurer and Doug's the chairperson. But Nick's pulling out. He wasn't happy with the transparency of everything, so he's pulled out completely now, pretty much. So I think it's maybe a bit of a personal conflict with Doug, which is understandable. We've all kind of experienced that interplay. Identity stroke brand. What is ArtSpace, LifeSpace? What does it do? What is it for? Who is it for? Where is it? We will know exactly what our mission statement is.
I mean, if this is for another meeting, I don't know. Does making this film count as being in the publicity team?
Yes. Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Because I need to spend a hell of a lot of time doing that this year. Yes?
Yeah, that becomes some obvious skill that you can.
Okay.
You're interested in, so
Alright, good.
Sorry, I'm not challenging that. I think that's correct. But as a general concept, isn't the film your film? It's not our film.
Yeah, it is. That's why I ask.
Yeah, that's why I didn't say
that's
yes.
Why I'm not sure.
I'm not sure about that.
But you're not a full member until you've actually become a member.
But I think that's
what I mean.
Laurie,
Don't you
because
think
we
so?
are all full members.
No, yeah, okay, but then how...
Legally, if you want to talk legally, like...
But how can we talk in the other way? We're a legal company, you know? ArtSpace, LifeSpace is a legal company. I don't understand it when people say, let's forget that bit, because I'm a director, yeah, I've actually got my name down on something here.
Well,
if I was sat where you are,
then
it means you have a say. It means you have a say. Fundamentally, it means you have a vote in steering the company, what ArtSpace, LifeSpace stands for. Until you're actually a member of ArtSpace, LifeSpace, you don't actually have a vote.
Well, fuck it then. That structure is not, it's really difficult. I do understand that, so I don't really want to talk about it because it's like this could go on forever. And
it doesn't just have to be three people that get to decide everything for us.
No, exactly. The more members there are, the more everyone gets to make the decision. But on a legal basis, at the moment, we're all making the decision, but there's nothing firm to stand on.
Okay.
Yeah, people don't want roles because then they have a responsibility. That's the tricky part, and we're all these crazy, lovely, creative, not wanting to commit, not wanting to have major responsibilities, or we'd have real jobs with real money and stuff.
Yeah, I think I probably think about leaving the project quite often.
Yeah, I think about it.
It's quite stressful. But it's when I actually come to think about leaving the project that I realise why I really want to be in it, I think.
I feel a sense of time running out on the whole issue in Bristol because there's not so much space left to be developed.
In the 2 years since the Audi garage, a lot of artists and community groups have laid claim to the derelict space along Stokes Croft. Some are temporary, some long-term, some squatting and some by agreement with landlords. The People's Republic of Stokes Croft have established an ever-changing gallery of street art on the hoardings of the remaining empties. Meanwhile, existing venues on the street are still under threat from developers, building flats to be close to the new UK and Circus shopping complex.
We have the potential to build a bridge and create a platform where these two very opposing things can be brought together. Hopefully we haven't lost our engagement with the grassroots community by dealing with all these developers.
The day after Dougie's 40th birthday, 2 marches started apart and came together in the centre. One was in solidarity with squats in autonomous spaces across the world. The other was fronted by the People's Republic of Stokes Croft as a protest against corporate development of the area.
My name's Bryony. In the UK, I mean, social centres are mainly legal now, so they're not like independent, like squatted spaces, so it's a promotion of that. Who's to say that we can't gather together and look at art or like make art together? Licences cost a lot of money. We can't afford that. These are basic human rights that should be free. People like make assumptions about squatters, but this is promoting some of the issues that we're actually concerned with. Nightstone are about to sell off the social housing in Montpellier and push the working classes further and further out of the centre. I mean, they've done that in Hackney, they're going to do it here, so unless we act as a community, we're going to get pushed out of the centre and it's all going to be yuppie flats, and I think that would be pretty rubbish.
What we do by squatting a building is we are just the bottom line of city development, in a way. Do you know what I mean? It's like we trigger a development of an area. So if you want to call it this way, like we are developers, you know what I mean? The theater I was working in New York, that was Brooklyn, was in a complete crack block, and we were among like the first 5 white people to live there. By being there, like our presence made the area somewhat safe for like other white people to live there. We kind of channeled them in a way, you know, like by running a theater, basically, like a lot of other people came in. And then next thing you know is the rent goes up. A year and a half later, you've got people in who pay 3 times more rent than we do. And then the next year, you've got NYU students coming in, and then it just goes. Probably somebody else would have done it if we hadn't been there, but we just noticed that, like, okay, we just kind of spearheaded the gentrification of the place by just like wanting an affordable space for us.
We go in there, but this business plan on his desk, is he interested in all the things we're going to be doing? No, we went straight to the figures, and he looked at that figure, £5,000, and he said, that's not enough for me.
What's the lease for?
The lease is like the legally binding contract.
Yeah, no. How long is it for?
A year.
A year. For $1,000 a month, is it?
Well, 1,175 because they've added VAT to our monthly rent. But yeah, sign lease. Oh, we'll have to move. Oh, I don't know.
Take the building.
Haggle. Hassle. Well, the gate shuts still.
Calm down, peoples. Rowan?
As far as I remember, the main issue with the signing of the paperwork was that we haven't got any money coming in to pay the rent.
So as soon as we've signed the lease, then we can get people in.
Yeah, I'm going to go and sign the tenancy for the fire station so the design festival can go ahead. I haven't told the design festival that we'll get to sign the contracts now before they open.
They don't need to know.
They don't need to know that. Hi there, it's Doug Francis. I've got an appointment with James Howard.
So I'll just sign this bit. We're hoping to get a planning application end of this year and conclude that by middle of next year, which is why we've got that 12-month period, because we'd like to get on with it once we've got a planning permission.
So there's been quite a major downturn in the whole property situation.
Yeah. I mean, we're pretty robust though, because half our portfolio is commercial,
right.
So that sort of underpins. And actually, the commercial side's okay because there's lots of demand out there still. Because the economy's not bad still. You know, it's okay.
Yeah.
People have got to have somewhere for their businesses and stuff.
Elkie is handing in his resignation.
No,
He's
I don't
frustrated because
think
things
that
weren't moving on as fast as he wanted to.
Or in the way that he wanted it to either.
He also says in his letter, I never intended to stay around. I was only going to be here for the setup of this period, you know. So I don't think we should all feel really bad about it.
I've been witnessing the figures of ArtSpace and the outgoings of ArtSpace, and although, everybody says it's going to go like that, we don't know how long it's going to take for the negotiations to begin with our tenants. If we go below 0, we have to fold the company. We currently have about £1,000 and we owe about £1,400. And I went round the venue the other day with a creative director of a magazine called Interchange. They are trying to organise an event for Volkswagen where they're unveiling and celebrating the release of the latest Sirocco vehicle.
Yes.
Seeing as Naomi, Heidi and Bear reminded me that we have an environmental policy and maybe we should think twice about doing the whole thing at all. Around, they're really happy with the space. They want a four-day event. No, they don't want to put a vehicle in. They want to put designs people have done based on a vehicle.
But they're blatantly not. We're not going to be convinced by that, surely.
Well, let's wait and see. I don't know. It might. There might be something.
Advertising a new car, aren't they?
I've got no idea.
Yeah.
I've got no idea.
Of course not.
Let's wait to hear. The point is,
the fucking bushy. It's a Volkswagen, right? And it's a car launch, so let's face it, they're probably going to be showcasing their new car, aren't they?
I'd eat my ethical hat for £6,000, you know. Even if it was made of fair trade organic banana leaves. We just have to decide whether we want to take money from a rich corporation to fund our arts project.
I mean, I've been sending emails out recently saying that we're like a green looking, you know, sort of bunch of, I don't know, trying to get us free energy saving light bulbs, and then it's just like kind of spun me out a bit that we're having like a VW car thing. I don't know, I'm just quite surprised.
The Arts Council won't
Sorry,
give
I'm
us
just...
But who are we getting the light bulbs from? Who are we getting the light bulbs from? Eon. So, I mean, again, who use nuclear power and coal? I mean, like,
yeah, but we're just getting free stuff and we don't have to like...
yeah, we're getting free money off Volkswagen, though.
They're just going to go somewhere else and give someone else their money.
Like, I don't know, I don't really care about any of this. I know it's like kind of lucrative, but we know we can make money off doing our own gigs.
Yeah.
Doing cabarets, of doing random events. So why?
I'm really with Sarah. Let's do our own event.
Did we make lots and lots and lots of money at the cathedral, enough to float the company?
No, I reckon
the current
average
situation?
night of doing a cabaret at the cathedral was about £400 or £500.
But we're about to have 30 people moving in. We've got a whole venue there. We've got all these applications for smaller things. I know you were just saying we've got no resources at this time, but I think we've got massive amounts of resources.
I'm basically having a big ethical spit roast right now. We're probably going to have the same thing on Tuesday about the same subject. So chair it.
Okay.
We're like in the centre of Bristol, and we have a voice, and we should be practicing what we preach. And if we don't, then it's just not good enough, really.
Nick was always going on about it, how none of us were listening to his ethical policy. He did at one point print it out and put it on one of the boards at the cathedral that got covered with other stuff.
As individuals, we don't have that much power to turn down those jobs, but you know, as a group, we have, so we should use it.
I need to be able to offer Urban Splash positive profile of like, because they put these jobs to us, like they'd give it to them for free probably just for the PR.
If it came down to like taking money from VW to give them a space to come and launch their car from, or none of this existing, I'd rather none of it existed.
Being able to deal with people on a one-to-one basis potentially could be a positive. We could get positive outcomes from it.
Trust these fucking people, like, really? Do you trust these?
Why you gotta be so fucking aggressive?
Because it's really upsetting me. It's really upsetting me, this whole fucking meeting, like.
Speaking meetings is like the one time that year that she has.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I'm really fucking upset by how everyone is. I thought, what the fuck's this like? You know what I mean? Come on, lads, fucking hell.
Yeah, no.
I'm not pushing for or
this
against,
is
I'm just
fucking
dealing
breaking
with
my
shit that's
heart,
coming
like.
in, you know what I mean?
The majority of the group voted not to have the VW event and made a general policy not to have advertising gigs in the space. So the magazine organising it just contacted Urban Splash direct and gave them the money instead of us.
Got our rent commitments to meet, and then we've got the bills as well.
It was tight for a while, but gradually other money started coming in.
All sorts is going on. Dark rooms and sewing rooms and welding rooms and carpentry rooms and editing studios and sound studios and like creative, productive hub.
The plan is to do sort of 2 big shows throughout a year, like 2 big site-specific sort of things, and then run some smaller events.
All the people who were really up for doing the project could come and, you know, get stuck into doing all the administration of that, and then for a lot of other people it was a lot more about the circus.
People who are doing art space seem to be moving along in a fashion that gets stuff done. It's given the circus time to train together and to really, when we do circus stuff, we focus.
You couldn't really do Carnival, it would cost, I don't know, £500,000 maybe, if you're going to pay everyone what they normally get paid to do that sort of thing.
The beauty of Carnival was that we put out an open call. We said we've got 3 stages and 4 different areas. Tell us what your act is and we can probably find a space for it. It just started snowballing wildly. Crew list just kept carrying on. So I think I remember it's 280 crew.
Opening up the building and to see it alive, like really alive, with like everyone doing their thing and smiling and being happy and feeling proud as well. So the collective sort of feeling of, you know, that actually we're getting it together and living the dream. Pretty hectic actually. Yeah, all good I think. Just running around looking for people who are probably running around looking for me as well, you know. But I think everything's kind of under control.
Done loads of all-nighters, making loops for the video bits around the place. I've only just got everything done and there's about half an hour before the show. So yeah, I guess I'll be having my camera back in a minute. Okay. What's that show?
Hot off the press.
So how are you feeling there?
I feel sick. I feel excited. I feel emotional. I want to cry. What? I want to cry. It looks so beautiful out there. How are you doing,
This is the best bit. People queuing outside.
25 minutes to show.
Yeah, like a slick machine.
Come to the carnival.
It's wicked, man. The scale is legendary.
Form an orderly queue over here, please. You and you, go on.
Yeah, I've been here both nights, it was that good.
And we're going to be here tomorrow, Andy.
It's something completely unique.
Absolutely fucking brilliant.
And now, and as I climbed aboard, the smell of brandy hit my nose, and a figure from the shadows he addressed me as he rose. Welcome aboard.
much money have you earned from the art space project?
What, in the whole time? So it'd probably come in under £1,000 in my personal earnings. You know, in some ways I don't care if we can't make it work that way, because we made it work this way and it was beautiful. And that's like, in some ways that's the best of it really, because people are just like, why you do this? You know what? Like you need some kind of calculation or some kind of ching ching, you know.
Ideally you get to a place where people can give their time but they can also earn their living from it. I don't think that's unfair, because people, you know, it's probably, everyone has to earn a living somehow, so.
We got people paid to work in the office. Just come from a meeting where we were discussing people getting paid. Quite a big step to be at.
I didn't really want to live, work, eat, play, sleep the whole project 24/7, so for me it wasn't healthy, so yeah, I kind of gave up my space.
We left the building like about a month ago, maybe a bit longer, but we sort of stopped being involved before that.
I think it was probably when I went to Tara during the cathedral and kind of got re-energised doing my green protest things, which I find more satisfying than anything else I do.
Anything that I said didn't really make any difference, so it made it pointless to go to meetings or anything like that, because it was all just too far away.
My background is an evolution of wanting to be involved in something radical, and so, you know, I thought squatting was that for a long time.
I've been breaking into abandoned buildings since I'm like 6 or 7 years old. Do you know what I mean? It's like, so I kind of like, I've always been doing that. And then that turned into squatting, you know what I mean? And now they're giving us the buildings. So there's been some massive turnaround where the developers have approached us to see whether we'd be interested in buying part of the building.
For art space, it's just learning really how to deal with these things, you know, because it's big business and we're coming at it from a grassroots level with a whole lot of grassroots concepts that aren't necessarily embraced by, you know, the big companies yet.
I'm still here.
Okay, so I haven't slept for a while, but nearly finished the film. And I just want to say to the crew, look what you've done to me.
If you look at the overall scale of what's been achieved and how far we've come, then I don't think we can be anything else but completely proud and determined to carry on. I know I am.
Summer 2009. The Audi garage is still a building site. Linden are finding it difficult to sell the flats. The Magic Box is a show house again. Property prices in Stokes Croft have not soared as expected. The crew moved out of Horfield Police Station so a private developer could turn it into a public toilet. Work has not yet begun. The Cabot Circus luxury shopping complex opened the same weekend as Carnival. It's now 2009 and many of the shops are closing or are not yet filled. At the Cathedral, work on the flats is indefinitely stalled. The island is one of Bristol's biggest capacity venues and home to costume, prop and set workshops, training spaces and a variety of artist studios, though Artspace is set to lose the venue in 2010.
You know, this cathedral, so many people, hundreds of people, so like, you know, I've been waiting for someone to do something with this place for years. It's just like, well, exactly, you know, aren't we all waiting for something to happen to make a difference in all of this, you know. The recession will create more empty properties. I think ultimately people want to spend less money, and it'll see a birth of more homegrown kind of stuff. Like, it's dirty work, you know, it's fucking really hard, and we don't really think about it because it's what we do, but really, I don't know, you couldn't pay me enough to do this job. Or anyone, you know, it's graft.
Okay, so this is our big set, right? You guys are the best performers I've ever heard. This is it. Las Vegas, here we come!
6 weeks, 4 days, and 7 hours.